Hey, this is Chasing Records, and you're listening to On the Record. And today, as guest, is we have Bosco and Peck, and today we just have Jay with us.
We just have Jay.
Just have Jay today.
We have Jay. We have Jay.
That's true. Good call.
Yes. And the podcast is brought to you by South River Brewing Co. southriverbrewing.ca. Check them out. They have a bunch of new beers, bunch of new promotions going on. Check them out on Instagram. That's the way to go, at South River Brewing Co. Yeah, we're gonna go with it. Anyway, check them out. Free shipping, $50 or more spent. Enjoy, guys.
All right, we are here with Jay Peck. Jay, what's your first? Is it Jay?
Technically it's Jason, but my mom calls me Jason.
So yeah, Jay. And
one letter.
Yeah, one letter, and that is part of Bosco and Peck. If anyone is looking out to reach out to their music there, so yeah, it's kind of nice to finally meet. I was just saying, but just before we hopped on, that you've listened to a lot of our podcasts, which is great, and some comments, so you kind of know how this rolls. And it's just more of a conversation than an interview of anything. But yeah,
I know. I find people always say, "Hey, that was a fun interview," and I'm like, we always say it's like not really an interview, but everyone's like, "Hey, cool interview." It's like, all right. So, hey man, cool interview. We'll have to make sure.
We did a podcast way before anybody did podcasts years ago, like 2012, 2011. And that's the same thing. We interviewed other musicians, and that's kind of why I watch yours, because it brings me back to doing it, and I remember how much work it was. Yeah, right. I feel like everybody needs you need recognition for how much work it is.
Appreciate that. What made you stop it? What was the kind of the?
Well, so the podcast was called The Song Swap, and the idea was the quick 30-second pitch. Is the idea was sometimes a band or a songwriter writes a song and they record it, but they don't do the best version of it, and maybe somebody else could do a perfect version of it and make a hit song. So we would cover other indie bands, and they would cover one of our songs, and then we would do a podcast, which was 2 episodes, and it was 1 episode with our version of their song, 1 episode with their version of our song. And what made us stop was I talked to a lawyer after the 2nd season because before that it was like people we knew, and it was we weren't that worried about it. And then I talked to a lawyer about a contract so we could spread out and get people from around the world, and she scared me.
And the legalities of it.
Yeah, she was like, well, the contract's going to cost about $1,000 for us to write to keep you safe. And I was like, yeah, we're sinking money into this. Like we haven't made a dime.
Right.
We've lost money on this. And I was like, $1,000. Yeah, we're just gonna
see you later.
Yeah. I could blame you. We could fucking blame you.
Yeah. It was too bad. It was fun.
Cool. I know. Concept. Cool concept. It's a great concept. Yeah, I know. No kidding. Hopefully nobody takes that and runs with it now.
Well,
you know, spend $1,000. They're like, okay, fuck, whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Actually, we were looking at I've been looking at starting it up again, because I don't know if you know Spotify Anchor.
Yes, and that's what we distribute our podcasts through.
Yeah.
Okay.
As well.
So if somebody puts a song through Anchor and you put it on your podcast and the song is on Spotify handles paying for the royalties for each play.
Right.
And that was really
Anchor.
Yeah, and that was really the problem back then, was the question of like how many downloads is how many times is it downloaded? Can you prove it? Okay, then somebody could say they were played 100,000 times and
then sue you for that
performance rights. Yeah.
So I mean, you guys are kind of ahead of the time, because podcasting kind of took off in the last 3 years, really, like took off. And the idea now would be gold probably. So yeah, get back on it.
Yeah. Well, the difference is also, I mean, I had a lot more time back then. Because each episode took us like 20 hours, because we would rewrite. I mean, when I say we rewrote songs, we did studio recordings of songs. We, from the ground up, rewrote their song.
Wow.
Usually a new chord progression, usually a new feel. And then, and then there'd be, editing the episodes, because we didn't do like live episodes. We did the episodes and then we cut them up and we put like funny stuff we thought was funny.
Right. Yeah. And same thing with stuff that we think is hilarious, and then I'm sure everybody else does. But that's really interesting though, eh? I mean, and you're right though. There is so much time that has to be put into it, and if you don't have the time, or at least you can put your time and invest it somewhere else. Especially if it's within your own music too, that would be tough, right? Because you're rewriting someone else's song.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I liked rewriting other people's songs because I felt like it was like a present. Like I always treated it as like I want to make something that they never saw coming. So it's
Yeah.
like, we tend to do soul music, or at least we used to. That was what we were known for.
Mhm.
And then when we would go into it, I mean, we came into writing, like I wrote country music and I mean, heavy, like hard rock, and like I've written all kinds of stuff. So we would try and throw people off by like, okay, this week's a funk song, and you didn't know it was coming.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's kind of a really neat idea. Yeah.
Do you produce as well? Because I imagine if you must, right?
Yeah. Actually, Bosco. If anybody is the producer,
Bosco?
Bosco is the producer, and his cousin Matt Koslab, who's like our silent partner. He's the drummer.
Okay.
He was also he did a lot of production. Me, I just showed up and I complained until I got things the way I like them. I was like, I don't like that. Just make it better.
Just find a way, please.
Yeah, turn
That's
knobs
funny.
until it sounds good.
How did you and Paul meet?
So I mean, I'm old, so we met in like 2000, 2001.
Okay.
I guess
Yeah.
it was 2000. He was in a band. I had my original band from high school that I was trying to get back together and like record an album, and I was looking for a bass player to play shows. So I joined the band he was in to try and steal him, and then that band was a lot better than our band, so I
So
stayed with them.
For the thievery there, eh?
Yeah, yeah.
You guys are lucky because so his last name is Bosco and your last name is Peck.
Mhm.
That works. You guys are lucky because I don't think Nate we couldn't do that with our names.
No, we can. Yeah, Fernandez Henderson. It doesn't.
Yes, yeah, it doesn't work. No,
It doesn't. Yeah.
sounds like a law firm.
Yeah,
it
it
does.
maybe it's exotic. Who knows? I mean,
Maybe.
Oh,
Yeah.
maybe, yeah.
But it's true though. Like your name, right? Even like if you didn't know your last names, right? It sounds good. It sounds neat. It's different.
we were just lazy. I mean, we fought over a lot of band names. I wanted to be the Camden Funk. And that's not because of the funk thing. It's actually the smell when you drive through the city of Camden. That's one of the sounds in
disgusting?
Jersey. Oh, it's a funk. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, it's just a straight funk. Eh?
So I thought it was funny, but nobody else bit. So we ended up with our last names.
That's funny. You just finally, can't decide. So guess what? It's the only thing that works. I mean, the good news is you've got to have like every handle, I would think, right? Instagram, Twitter,
yeah.
right?
You know what's funny? Yes, but early on we had a problem with Google searches. We were on the like second and third page because Bosco and Peck, you used to search it and find the A team because
Wow.
Bassman's
Really?
last name was Peck and B.A. Baracus was Bosco.
Right.
So
That's
if you go to like,
hilarious.
we've been around long enough that we have the first and second page, usually maybe the third. But still, if you go deep enough, you'll find B.A.
enough, right?
Baracus. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, we were. What's the one that we were getting hit up for, Andrew?
The Angler. The Angler. It's a Chasing Records is is apparently a popular book, or just the only thing that Chasing Records had. And it's on Amazon. And he, regardless what we do, he's still right in there. It's like either second or third, or take the lead for a little bit, go back down. The book's like $30. Who the fuck cares about fishing that much? This guy's journey to fish. I don't know. Anyway, yeah,
we got it. My wife and I got into birding this year with COVID, and I never thought I'd get into that. And like, we go out for hours and like look for birds. So I can't make fun of somebody about fishing.
No, I guess that. If you write a book about it, just don't call it Chasing Records. It's
Chasing Records of Birds Found. There you go.
Yeah.
You know, I can't knock fishing either. I used to as a kid, and then I went out a few years ago, kind of for the first time as like an adult, and kind of just figured out why it's actually so enjoyable to so many people. And I get it now. I totally understand.
Well, no, I'm Portuguese. I get about fishing is like just something that's it's second nature. But to read a fucking book. You know what I mean? To be like let me check out this guy's journey to fish. Like, who cares? Let's go fishing.
Right, fair enough.
Thank you. That's it. I'm not bashing fishing. I'm just like, hey, if this guy wants to,
I'm gonna comment on this one.
Yeah, you should.
Be like, oh, these guys bash fishing.
No, but like you said, you do go bird watching. I mean, I don't care. It's cool. Like you probably have you want to see. You probably mark what you see in different ones and stuff. But like, I'm not gonna read your book about what you saw. That's what I was trying to say. Like that's it.
I take it back. I don't go birding. Sounds less cool every time I say it.
Jay's gonna write the comment in, and then we're gonna have to write a song about birds and fishing now.
No. He
There
says
was a-
birding. I like that. It's cool. It sounds cooler. He says we go birding. I like that.
Well, that's what it is, man. There was a movie. There's actually a movie with like Jack Black. I should know everybody who's in it because I've seen it more than once. But it's about birding, and it's about them like trying to beat the record.
Oh shit! Yeah, I saw that movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's much better now when I watch it because I've bird. So
Right.
So you kind of there's some insight there that.
Oh yeah. While we're watching it, my wife and I while we were watching it, we were like going through. We're like, oh, look at that one. Yeah, we saw that one. Yeah. So.
I promise we'll get to your music. Let's have a question about birding real quick.
Care.
Okay, all right.
You know this podcast. It may wander.
Yeah. So how does birding like was it your wife's idea? She's like, I want to go. Was it your idea? Was it a combined idea?
No, it was her idea because I think it was a Facebook group that she was part of. That was this year. They were trying to get every year they try and get a birding count of migrating birds.
Okay.
And we live in a migrating bird path, so we get birds from like South America all the way up to like way north Canada where it's frozen, and they come through here. So we just happen to live in a place where, I mean, every week there are different birds. So she got this thing, and they're trying to get like a census of birds to see, you know, the migration patterns, and you basically go out and count them. So we started with that, and then we were like, we got into it, and now we're looking at buying a camera and trying not to spend too much money.
Yeah.
That was great.
These projects lead to, like, seriously, that's exactly what it does.
Yeah. Well, the camera is like, because you want a really long zoom lens so you can get really close, and we're like, it's a hobby, and it's like $1,000.
Yeah, your lenses can be up to $1,000, let alone like the actual your DSLR. You know, just your body.
Yep. Yeah, it's like like a cheap one is $1,000, and we're like, I don't think we were in for that much.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
that's the podcast fee right there.
Yeah,
that's your contract. That's your contract. Yeah. Oh man, that's all. That's cool. See, that's cool. Like that's see. The more you explain it, the more you're selling me on it. Would I read the book? Probably not. Still, but like I'm more excited about it than I was originally.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd read a book about birding. They're pretty boring. Like they explain, it's pretty bad. Like they explain like what they're supposed to look like. Thank God there are apps. All right.
Yeah.
Because the app, I'm like, oh, what does the bird look like? Yeah, that's what I saw.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
That's good. That's fine. But, and you know, we were talking about this, and I mean that obviously was brought on, like you said, with the pandemic, with COVID, right? That's like what we said for this. We wouldn't have started this had it not been for the pandemic, right? So there's certain things that have come out of it that aren't the worst. You know, obviously the worst being stuck at home and not being able to do a whole lot. Have you been able to play at all with your music?
No, but I'm probably in a worse case than most people because I have severe asthma and a bunch of things like that.
Right.
Plus I have 2 kids, my wife that I live with, you know, so
it's not just you having to,
and we probably take it further than most people, but my biggest concern is long COVID, really. I mean, at first it was, I don't want to die. You know, I don't want to like turn around tomorrow, get sick, and then I'm in the hospital and that's it. But now with the long COVID, because I have younger kids, we're trying to take it more seriously. So we're trying to be as safe as possible. I work from home, and my wife, she homeschools, and she always has. So we can hide in our bubble and never leave. I mean, the only time we leave is to get groceries.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I watched the Rangers and Jays game today and saw the 40,000 fans in the stadium today, and I was just blown away. I couldn't believe it.
That freaked me out.
Yeah, I was just unbelievable.
Oh, what you're saying?
Oh yeah, I just couldn't believe it. I was floored. Right.
I don't know if I'd even play. If I was like on the Jays, I'd be like, fuck it, bench me. There's like, I don't even go out there, you know.
I know, but they're playing.
Imagine going for a foul ball. You're going for a foul ball, and you're going close to the crowd. You're like, the crowd's just like coughing on you and shit. Yeah, you're like, fuck it. Yeah, you know. I don't know. Right out.
Well, you guys you've been in lockdown, right?
Yeah, we are in a third. They're calling this one a shutdown, not a lockdown. But yeah, we're back up to about 3,000 cases right now a day in Ontario, and we're like around 30 million, I think, population. So
38 million. I just Googled
38 million now.
It's funny you said that.
You have like, isn't that like a tenth of the U.S.? I think we have like 320 million.
Oh yeah. Just
I didn't realize it was that much discrepancy between.
Oh yeah, and that's like Canada isn't much bigger. Like Ontario is the biggest province, so in terms of population. So we're just big. in
Yeah.
terms of land mass, open land mass.
Well, yeah, when you look at it on the map, I don't know when you flatten out the map, it's like skewed, but
Yeah.
yeah, it looks huge. I mean,
Yeah.
just telling you guys, you look huge.
Thanks. Yeah.
Thank you.
That's-
Thank you.
That's
Yeah.
what most men are waiting
Yes.
for, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
That's right.
Huge.
Huge. So, but yeah, no, it's certainly, yeah, it's unfortunate because I mean, Andrew and I still haven't been able to get together, and I like you said, I tried to play it. We're both trying to play it safe in terms of not trying to give it to anyone or catch it. But yeah, like with my dad being older, I just can't take the chance if I ever had to go over there to help for whatever reason, right? So yeah, it's too bad. Hopefully it ends soon, but I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, we're in Jersey, and New Jersey is it's starting to open up. We're one of the states that took it more seriously, so we had a lot of, not quite lockdowns, but a lot closer. There were, when you go in places here, you see people with masks on, as opposed to like if you're in the South, because like Bosco, he was just in Florida. He travels a lot, and he was just in Florida a couple weeks ago, and he's like, there's no masks here.
It's fucking mental.
It's
I
just
know.
crazy.
I don't get it.
Crazy to get, how it can just be two different worlds. And I mean, the population in Florida just alone, right? And,
I just don't understand how that's the hill to fucking die on is masks. I don't get it. It's like I will absolutely not wear. I don't know. To not try to get too political, but I don't understand, man. There's so many things, so many other things, and it's like just wearing a covering. And half the people are ugly as fuck, anyway. So just cover that up. It's all right. If anything, you make it a date, right? But I don't know, man. It's just a weird hill to like be like absolutely no fucking way I'm wearing a mask. I just don't understand.
Well, when you're in a cold place though, wearing a mask sometimes it's a blessing.
I've
been, like, because we live by the beach, and when it gets cold here, like, we still like to go. Yeah, we still like to go on a walk, and it used to be like last year we wouldn't wear a mask. We would just go for a walk, and you'd be freezing. Your face was freezing.
Yeah.
And now like, oh wait, I have a covering, and I have an excuse. I don't look like a weirdo for wearing
it.
it.
It's true. Yeah. I said that the first thing I said when the masks were starting, obviously to really hit home that these are going to be on, I said, man, for the winter, it's going to be great. Because when it's -20 outside, and that's Celsius, I'll be happy to wear a mask. I can cover this thing up and I won't feel a damn thing. It'll be great. So yeah, I hear you.
Was there this much of an uproar when they took cigarettes out of like airplanes?
Yes,
lose their fucking mind.
In the US,
yeah,
you can't. Oh yeah, like seatbelts. I don't know if
seatbelts would be seatbelts.
Was that a big deal?
That one was huge here.
Yeah, for us, I mean, people were losing their mind.
Yeah, I remember that. Because it was just as I was younger, like that was like it was starting to hammer home that seatbelts were a must. It was a must, but I remember still people wouldn't wear them, right?
Yeah,
put them over, put them behind them, or
my mom still does.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
See, yeah.
So just people in general with restrictions, then, eh? There's like they don't like being told. They like authority makes them pissed off, and anyways,
I don't know if people in the U.S. are more aggressive than that, but I feel like it seems like it to me. I mean, because even with our like country, like every state makes their own rules.
Yeah.
So like independent thought to a fault is what we do here.
Oh man! Again, I don't want to get too political, but I just read about Georgia yesterday, and I had a big read on that because
they're voting.
Yeah, and the MLB took a stance on it, and then everyone's pissed off the MLB. It's like what a fucking mess. It was.
I don't even watch the news anymore.
Oh, you can't. How can you? Oh my god! It humbles you.
Yeah, I figure. You know what? It's going to end up somehow, and I hope it ends up well.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
There are people out there fighting, and on both sides, and I hope that whoever wins is the right person. And once it's done, I'll figure out if it was right or wrong.
Yeah, I think it's a great way to look at it, to be honest.
I've just been around for too long
that you can have that sort of perspective on the whole thing. Right?
Yeah.
So
I drink more because of the fucking news, man. I can't like I remember when this all started. I was like just googling every day about COVID. I was googling it like probably January 2020 because people were always telling me like, "They'll never come here, man. They'll never come here." And I was like, "But it's such an interesting thing to read about. Like, how could this be happening?" And then at one point I'm like, "Why am I doing this?" It's like when I was younger, when I was like super into ghosts, and I was like, if I read all these ghost books, and I was researching ghosts and shit, and then I realized, what the fuck am I doing? Like, why I don't want to see a ghost. Like, why would I, like, what am I doing? So, and that's how I felt with COVID. It gave me that, like,
I don't want it.
I don't want to fuck it. So I don't want to even read about it because it just depresses me, right? And anyway, yeah. But so that's just a little fact of me. There you go.
There you go.
There you go.
Actually, going so speaking of facts, so what I love is actually on your on the Spotify. Who wrote the I love the tale of two bios? Whose idea was that?
Oh, that was me. I hate writing bios. So and when I started writing it, like, we have some things going on and we have some things that I think are just funny, that, like, I hate talking about myself. Like, I hate, like, trying to make it do the sales pitch, but I know we have to. So I started writing it, and then I realized I was writing two different bios, one that was like outlandish and one that was, you know, just the facts. Yeah.
That's just say, like, facts. It was just so funny. I saw that and I was like, oh, tale of two bios. It was like, oh, I get this, right?
I was probably drinking when I wrote that too.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm right there with you. I did not. Andrew and I were always kind of, well, we should do a bio, and then finally I wrote something, and I think we're just like, yeah, okay. I'm not one to sales pitch everything. No, we're just two guys from Canada.
Oh, I know, but that's not enough. I feel, you know.
I know.
It's like a resume, you know. You really you talk up a couple things like you really were more important than you were, and everybody knows you're doing it.
That's true.
That's social media to a T. What you just said.
Yeah, it is. It really is, isn't it? Actually, that's kind of an interesting one to touch on too, because with social media being so popular and being able to get your music going, because you said you started back in 2000, right? Realistically,
I mean, I started before that.
But I mean, with this project, right? I mean, what have you noticed? Like, is the social media ish? Yeah. Has this really helped? Do you feel like
so?
You guys?
I mean, I wish I was 10 years younger to be able to take advantage. Because the weird thing is, like, I mean, I started writing music when I was 4. Well, I was younger than 14, but when I was like 14, I tried to start a band and we sucked. We didn't know how to play an instrument. But we were like, we're going to figure this out. So by like 16, we finally were we could play our instruments a little bit, and we went into a studio and we recorded something. And that was like in 95, 94, something like that, 94, 95. And we recorded a demo and I started sending it out to record companies. So like back then, what you had to do is you had to find a record company and get signed for a 1-song contract. And that was all you did. All you cared about. You didn't care about doing shows and how many people came to your shows. You cared about getting that record contract and getting in front of them. And then like in the mid 2000s, when we were doing stuff, MySpace became a thing. And it was like, okay, now people wanted to know how many MySpace followers you had. It wasn't, and you were still trying to get a record company.
Right.
But you had to show them MySpace followers. And then it was like, so I've gotten to see it change. And now it's back to the idea of how many people are coming to your shows, you know, and there is still that social media thing, but people aren't fooled by the fake MySpace followers like they used to be. At least companies aren't. But I mean, I knew people who were getting a lot of attention from labels because they were just paying for MySpace
like followers.
They were paying for bots, and the companies had no clue, and all they knew was MySpace was new. So I mean, if I was 10 years younger, it'd be so much better. Because like, I know everybody complains about Spotify, but I mean, I look at it as like it's the musician lottery. Like, yeah, you don't get paid a lot. You get paid a little bit, but you're really hoping that one of your songs will get on the right playlist and it'll get played. Suddenly you'll wake up in the morning and you'll have 100,000 plays in one day, and then people will start talking about you. So it's the lottery. It's not about, you know, how many pennies you make off a play. I mean, it sucks. I make it, you know, or I make very little. Yeah. But but at the same time, that's what it is for me. Is it's like the lottery. It's like I have to be there. I have to play, and maybe one day I'll have my song will get on the right list, and then I'm going to make money other places, not Spotify.
Right.
But Spotify is going to be the lottery ticket that gets me there.
Yeah, and it's funny. We were just on a podcast with 12 Years today, who was another band from Ontario, just north of us, and we were chatting with them. And there's a band that just came out. They're from Cobourg, Ontario, not far from us. Cleopatrick, sorry. And we were talking about it, and I didn't know. So they're like, "Have you heard the song?" And we're like, "Yeah, it's on the radio right now," and it was released in 2017.
Yeah,
right. And it just, and they said like they played, and they had a younger demographic that would listen to them, but it never went anywhere. And then all of a sudden, 2021 hits, and it's exploded. It has 47 million streams.
Yeah,
right. But how? I have no idea. Like, I don't know what triggered it or whatnot. But it's phenomenal. And I, you know what, I never thought of it that way, being like a lottery, but you're right, that's really what it is. And Andrew and we've talked about it, and I know you've heard it on the podcast before, but I think Spotify is the way. You've got to put your stuff on there, right? There's no other way. It's the new radio, right? And like you said, if it catches fire, then hopefully people will notice, and then people see it on their playlists, and it just keeps going and going and going.
And it's better than what radio used to be, because like radio, it used to be, you know, you would have to get the local show. So whatever the local show in your town was. I think Canada is a little different because I think they have to legally play.
There's a certain
Local.
percentage that they have to play.
10% an hour or something.
There's a percentage that they have to play per hour that's Canadian. Yeah, it doesn't have to necessarily be local, but as long as it's Canadian.
Be thankful for that, because in the US there is nothing like that. And I mean, there is nothing like that. So you start with like, you try and find like the local rock station that is, you know, on Sunday morning from 10 to 11 o'clock when everybody's at church is playing some local groups, you know, and nothing ever comes from it, but you do it because you're just hoping. And I mean, at least this lottery is a lot better, you know. I mean,
worldwide.
like, we started, our first thing was we were just recording songs. We had no like clue what direction we were going. We were just writing and recording songs. And I was driving by a radio station, and I had my radio on and heard that they were having an unsigned band contest. So I pulled up. I was like driving by them, turned around, pulled in, gave them my demo tape, and then they called and said, "Hey, we want you to be, you know, one of the 3 bands in the contest." And we won that contest, and nothing came of it. Nothing came of it.
Oh,
I mean, it was a popular radio station. Like, it was at the shore here. It was one of the top 40 radio stations. Absolutely nothing came from it, and we won the contest.
Wow,
like, we
that's
won
crazy.
That is crazy.
Yeah. So that's like, when I say it's like, people don't. I hate to say it, but you kids don't know how good you have it. Yeah. How I feel that like this lottery is so much better.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's true. You know what I mean? But then I have the flip side of that. We have a band in London, Ontario, Texas King, who traveled all the way through the US and Canada with Big Wreck. I don't know if you're familiar with Big Wreck.
No, probably not, man.
Probably not. They're they're not.
I barely am, and I'm Canadian.
But they won a radio contest here, a local radio show, and we have a festival. It's not a festival, but it's an event called Rock the Park. And usually, like, there's big names that come through from Canada and the US. It's usually a 4-day event. They switched it up now that it's one night's rock, one night's country, blah blah blah. Anyways, they won the contest and were able to open, but then they were able to actually kind of get some there, so you know, get somewhere with it, and it kind of threw them into the spotlight, which is kind of neat. But in saying that, I said to Andrew before, it's interesting because they did that tour with Big Wreck, and I thought, okay, this is their shot. Like, this is it. They're going to actually take that next step. Nope. Right. So it's funny you said that. Like, it looked like they were getting there, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh no, what happened?
Did they actually get signed to a label or anything?
That's exactly it. I don't think they did. That's exactly it.
I mean, I have friends who they're friends of my wife, but you know, I met them through my wife, but they were signed to Geffen, I think.
Oh, Geffen Records.
And they went, did world tour and everything, and they have nothing.
They have nothing. Yeah, I know.
The guy, the lead singer, he plays at restaurants, plays cover shows, you know, like acoustic cover shows, and like, they were a good band. They were solid. They toured with a band called Chevelle, I think.
Chevelle was huge.
Yeah, they were like
in like early 2000s, I'd say, mid 2000s.
Yeah. And that they and Chevelle were like kind of the same level. Like, they toured. I think Chevelle was at the time was in some places they were opening for Chevelle, and in places where they were popular, Chevelle was opening for them.
The other way, eh?
Yeah, but I mean, it's one of those things where, like, when they got signed, I mean, we were all like, what? This is crazy. And we were all, you know, all the musicians that they knew were just like, I hope they make it, and I hope they take us, you know?
Yeah, of course. But, and then nothing, right?
Yeah.
What was their band name?
Chevelle.
No, gosh, I should know this. Can you?
Oh shit.
Oh, it's. I cut out. You can't hear. I can't remember all.
Okay.
They're a hard rock band.
Them.
I was saying because I was like, I was trying to think of like who was with Chevelle. I was like, I don't know if 311 was with them.
311. No, they weren't 311.
Yeah, they weren't. It wasn't.
No,
No,
they weren't that popular.
They weren't. But that was like that. But they took off. That's why I was like, it can't be them, right? So
yeah, and the worst part is on the tip of my tongue. My wife will hate me that I forget it.
Oh shit! I'm so curious. I remember when Chevelle was doing shit, so I was wondering if like.
Well, Jay, you can message me after and be like, "Hey, my wife told it's no worse. Hey, Andrew's no worse than trying to remember your wedding."
Yeah,
song.
your wedding song. Yeah,
Well, there you
yeah,
go. At
right.
least,
yeah, it's true. Oh man, I'm so curious.
Oh, wait, did you forget your wedding song? Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah, briefly.
Yeah, yeah.
But then the best part is later on after my after my wife listened to the podcast that it was on, she goes, "Oh, it's funny. A week late, like a week before, she goes, somebody asked me and I couldn't remember." I was like, "Oh, thank goodness I made it."
Yeah, but you did recorded.
That's true. It is. That's true. That's true. It is recorded, unfortunately.
Yeah. And she's like one of our like listeners, man. Like she listens to all the podcasts, so it's like couldn't sneak that one. And I was like, we can't edit this, man. It's impossible.
You lost the listener.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Unbelievable.
now we're -7. Damn it. Yeah. So that's man. Please let us know.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Yeah. You know, the funny. As soon as we finish up, I'll remember.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's the way it always goes, right?
Oh man, I'm so curious.
It's funny. Anyways,
yeah, but it is a crapshoot though, and
really
you don't know what people want to hear, and when someone gets signed, it's the label signs the band because of, you said, more now than ever is your following and their prediction of what people want to hear. But we had a contest that we wanted to get into, and it was like indie music, and there's a bunch of different categories like song of the year or album of the year or EP of the year, all this crazy shit. Jim Beam was doing it, the whiskey, and they're I think it was 1,000 or 10,000 followers you need to have.
I think it was 10. I think
It
it
was
was
10.
10,000
You need
followers
10,000
before you can
followers.
get in. Before you can
even enter. And it was like, and being an indie band who's we in COVID, where we started this last year. It's not even possible. There's no way we won't have 10,000 followers in 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, you get bots.
That's right.
Yeah.
I mean,
That would be about it, right? Just to enter the contest, which then I think costs you money too at the end of the day to enter.
Yeah. So it's becoming, and we talked about this before too, but it's becoming more like you have to do all the work as a band to get to the level where you don't even need a label anymore. And then the label wants you, but you're like, I don't need you anymore. But it's becoming so on the other side, even contests are like, no, you have to be at this sort of level band to be considered like independent, unsigned. And it sucks because like I think we have 1,200, like, for example, Instagram followers, but the amount of engaged followers is probably like 7, if that. Like people who will like comment or listen to stuff or like share the music, and the 7 were other bands, right? Like other bands mostly, and then the odd person is oddly supportive, which is great. But like, we don't have it, and it sucks.
It's hard to build that engagement. It really
we can't get that engagement. We can't get anybody to kind of like pull them in, even though they're on our list. Like we put out questions and stuff, and people are liking it, but not like answering it or anything. And it's kind of I'm kind of out of ideas what to do. And go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think the one cool thing is with social media, you have a chance of reaching everybody. The problem is there's so much white noise now. I mean, that's really what it is.
Yeah.
And every band is looking like, everybody wants to promote themselves because we all probably have the same goals or roughly the same goals. And everybody goes on YouTube and they check and they watch the videos, and then we all do what the videos say. So then there's more white noise.
Yeah, true. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, everyone's looking at the same videos, the same tutorials on what to do, what not to do, and it's all there. It's a good point. Yeah, no, it's true.
But I won't lie, I do it too.
Yeah. No, you're right. I mean, the end goal is all the same for everyone, right?
Yep. So the only idea here is make a video to put everybody off the scent. I'll make a video like how to get signed or whatever, get followers, and it'll be just like bullshit. Everyone's like, let's try that.
Delete all your accounts.
Yeah.
You know what's funny though? You might go viral with videos like that once people caught on to the fact that it was a joke. And that might be
shit.
the best thing to do. Hey, I'm not going to take your idea because
TikTok, here I come, buddy. Here I
honestly,
come.
I'd probably watch a couple of them. You know?
Yeah.
Oh my god, dude! You know what? I'm gonna do this. I think I'm gonna wear a suit, like be fucking professional. I'll be like, "This is what you do," and I'll have like a whiteboard behind me, and I'll
Yes, exactly.
be like, "Don't post ever again," you know, shit like that. I'll work on this. I'm gonna brainstorm.
Wait, it's got to be like the whole dating idea where you're like, no, once they talk to you, you don't talk to them for 2 days.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes,
Right?
that's
You
right.
don't make them think you want it.
That's right.
Oh man,
I'm brilliant.
I'm gonna get right after this. I'm going to write the writing stuff down. Thanks, guys. That's good.
Hilarious. Yeah, no problem. Glad we
yeah.
could get
was-
that out for you.
It was nice knowing you.
Yeah. It's like,
Jay-
oh, my camera's not
poor
working. I'll
Jay.
leave now. Just like, hold on, gotta go. That's
funny.
great. No, I might do that. That'd be fun. That'd be fun to do.
If we go back to the music though, for your last single, "Naked," that just came out recently, eh?
Yeah, but
It's-
we wrote it a long time ago. But
Did
yeah.
you? Okay, yeah, I was gonna ask you. Yeah, was it like a new song or it's an older one, eh?
Yeah, it was a song we wrote in like probably 2012, 2013 we recorded it. And that recording you heard has just been sitting and never
Really, eh?
finished. Yeah, we never mastered it or anything until this year, and we never released it. It didn't fit because we were doing soul music and it's like pop rock or something.
It's pop rock. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's definitely a different sound than some of the other stuff as well that's on Spotify, right? I really like it. I really enjoyed it.
Nice, nice.
Are you thinking of going that direction though?
Yes and no. We're talking about maybe making a second band name so we don't mess up the Spotify algorithm, because like the Spotify algorithm, it doesn't go by song, I guess it goes by like your sounds. So we might end up being played with the wrong people for the rest of our music if one song gets popular.
Yeah, I see. I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah,
because we actually have 3 or 4 songs that are finished right now that I'm going to be spacing out over the next couple of months. But 2 of them are country songs, and I mean they're country songs, old country. I can't release that under our name. It's going to ruin it. Like if people listen to it, they're going to be like, I don't like country, so why would I listen to the rest of your music? So
right. I mean, I've talked about it before, right? Unless you're an established artist, you can then go ahead and do that. I think of like a band in Canada, Sam Roberts Band, where the first album, even the first 2, were very like a pop rock, catchy as get all, especially the first album was huge here, and the second one was kind of similar, but then that third album came and it was a completely different shift. But when you heard their interviews, they were like, this is kind of really what our sound we wanted it to be, but in order to kind of get heard in that, they had to kind of pop rock it and fit in with the times. And I think that's also part of it, and we've talked about that in the podcast with some artists being like, you know what, we're going to try. Well, Counterintelligence was one that said we're thinking about, we're going to try to please the radio stations first, and then hopefully get some airplay and then go.
I'm done trying to please the radio stations and the record
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
I think
we've had more success with songs that we wrote and liked than the ones that we wrote and we're like, this is poppy, this is catchy, and those end up stale because our heart's not in it.
I think that's a huge one. I think with Andrew and I, every song that we've written, we've really liked. Like it wasn't, something that we're trying to write for. It was always just ourselves. We wrote that song for us, and that's a really good point too. Yeah, I think your heart's got to be in it. There's no doubt. Or then you end up with that band that hates playing that song when it gets popular, right? Everyone screams it out. Right. And they're just like, oh man, like, okay, I guess we have to play it, right?
But you may feel shitty too. Can you imagine writing songs you love and all those songs you are like just like so personal or so like good, fun to play, and then you write just one fucking songs for the radio, just so we get somewhere, and everyone likes just that one song of yours, and after a while you'll be like, oh, can you believe it? Like I can't, like we didn't put our heart in that one, and it's funny that if that happens, man, I'd be stoked still. Fuck whatever. Of course we would be. I'd be so stoked. I'm like, whatever, man. That song sucks, but everyone likes it, so I don't know.
Yeah, I played in a cover band for 6 years, and honestly, we played the same. I don't know, because it was older music, like 60s and 70s. So we played a lot of the same songs for 6 years, and I mean, I can play My Girl I could probably play it while I was sleeping, but.
Right.
you know, I don't like playing the song anymore, but every time I play it, I still put my art in it, you know, because people get into it. So you
I
just,
think that's
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
you end up doing it for different reasons. I think if you ever get to that point, I assume, at least for
Yeah.
playing in cover bands, like playing My Girl for the 1000th time, like
Yeah.
people like it as soon as you start it. So
I think it's a good way of looking at it too. I think you're right. Eventually, I mean, we don't know the feeling yet, but I'm assuming you would play it for them and not so much for yourself, and you know their enjoyment and see their enjoyment out of it, right? So, and then so you said you have a couple things on the go in terms of releasing. Are you following the model that we're kind of thinking now about just singles all the way through, and then maybe collect them into an EP? Or although you said they're different genre too, right? So that's going to be tricky as well.
Well, because of the genres right now, it's going to be singles definitely. Although I'm going to do singles, or we're going to do singles for a bit, but then there's part of me that's been writing like quietly. There's part of my mind, I guess, that's quietly been writing like an album. That really wants to make an album, but at the same time, I know how long that takes, and I don't know if anybody's going to be around in 5 years to care.
So, yeah, for real.
Because like when I think of an album, like, you know, putting an album together, I think of something like, you know, Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd, where it's like from the beginning to the end, songs move into the next song, and you do things like hint a one song, a theme from one song later in the album, in, you know, from an earlier song, you hint the melody in or something. And that's really what I'd like to do, but I would do it and no one would like it. So we'll see.
I'd do it. I say do it, man.
Yeah,
I'd say do it.
Yeah. We I like
sure.
you probably know, but we did our album of 14 songs. I mean, we split it out into EPs right now, but just in the fear that it would, I mean, even the songs on the EPs kind of got washed away a bit. Although try to revive them. But I mean, then I go back to the story with Kohlberg and this band Cleopatra, and you just don't know, right? You put it out there, and even though it's on an album, all it takes is one person. And like you said, the Spotify lottery, if that big magic wheel spins and hits it the right way.
Yeah, I mean, if you do an album, I think you have to do like John, is it Mitchie?
Yeah, John Mitchie, yes. Yep.
Yeah, the way he did a really great job of promoting it and getting people excited about an album. And I think but I think you can't have that. Like, if I do the album thing, I'm going to follow what he did. I'm going to make an album. I'm going to try and get people who want an album to be interested. I'm not worried about anybody else. And, you know, I'm going to print CDs, maybe print records, you know, and dump a bunch of money in and realize that it's probably not going to make any money. And if I break even, I'll be psyched.
Right.
Yeah. But it's more like art.
He seemed to do really well though. When like you said, he sold a bunch of stuff, and even like odd things here and there that I wouldn't have thought of. I know he had a lyric book as well that went with it too, right? Which is such a great idea, right?
That's so smart.
Yeah,
yeah, and I think that's really what sold it. I mean, I bought his album. I didn't buy the physical album.
The physical copy, but you bought,
because honestly, I wanted to see what he did. You know, I could have just gone on and streamed it, but I didn't want to be interrupted by, because I'm not going to pay Spotify for it. I'm not going to pay them. I'll just use the free version. But I don't want it to be interrupted by commercials.
Right. You want to hear the full effect.
Yeah. And I mean, and giving somebody $7, whatever they get, $8,
$7.
Yeah. Giving that to another musician for seeing what he put into it. It was worth it. You know, I was really psyched to hear what he did.
That's awesome.
Yeah. No, I was nice too when I heard it. It's and you know what? I give him all the credit in the world though for putting that all out, right? And doing all that work. And then when we had him on here and he said that's his plan to do it again. He has no desire really to do a single. He wants to do albums.
Yeah.
Which, like you said, you know what? If that's, you know, if you know that's your market and that's where you want to go with it, and you get a following out of it, then why not? There's no reason not to, right?
And honestly, as a musician, I mean, I love listening to an album from beginning to end. You know, there are some albums that, you know, I listen to every Radiohead album. I haven't listened to a Radiohead single in, I don't know, since I remember when Radiohead's first song came out. Like, I'm that old. But that was probably the last album of theirs that I listened to one song, and I bought the single. You know, it was like, but ever since, every Radiohead, I listened to the whole album. Every Pink Floyd, I listened to the whole album. Like,
I never actually bought singles. I was telling Nate that I never. It's funny because that's like the way we're gonna go. But growing up, I was, you know, I remember waiting in line on Boxing Day to get the Oasis's first album. Definitely, maybe is that the first album?
I think it was.
Yeah,
I have no idea because I never liked Oasis.
Oh no, I do. I love them. I love them. What's the story? Morning Glory got me hooked, and I went back and got the first album. I think it was definitely Maybe, and then I just got all their albums after that. I was never seeing it. Now I got really pissed off when the people release singles, and then there'd be like a bonus track on the single, and I was like, fuck, like, do I want to buy that? But I already have the album.
See,
but
I
now,
only bought singles though. I only bought singles when I had like the full album of all the artists. I just wanted all the other stuff that they released,
right,
whether
exactly,
it was like Japan or wherever. Just
yeah.
I don't like Sam Roberts. I think there's got to be 20 albums that I have of his. The Hip, I have every single one plus random stuff that they released.
I was that way with Bjork.
Bjork,
I don't know why. I have no idea why Bjork clicked with me, but it was like I bought like all kinds of dance albums, and I was playing in like alternative bands and hated everything.
Really?
Then it was like for some reason Bjork and dance, like EU dance out. Well, I guess it wasn't EU, it was like Europe, whatever they called it. But yeah, I bought I went to CD stores, like bootleg stores, bought everything.
Fucking awesome.
It's interesting, eh? Yeah, it's interesting the way things have gone, and it would be really interesting to see how it proceeds too. And like you said, I mean, these streaming services, we need them, unfortunately.
Like, and it's cool. I mean, you can go and listen to anybody. Like, you don't have to find their website and hope they have music on it, or listen to a 30-second clip like it used to be, which is so dumb. I never understood that. I was like,
no.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe look if you're Metallica and you people are stealing your music, I guess maybe then you do 30-second clips, but everybody knows you. But like if you're independent, like give your music away for free until people start buying it.
Right. Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know for us, like all of our stuff is on Bandcamp, and you can stream it to the day until the day you die. It doesn't matter. There's no there's no limit on it. Just go nuts. If you have nowhere else to stream it, have fun. Go at her. So yeah, I agree with you on that 100%.
I will say that I heard your song "No Guarantee." That's
cool.
And it was the perfect time to hear it. So I was sitting out on my deck on what was a nice day? Saturday? What day is it?
Saturday.
Saturday, yeah.
I got above -10. I think it was Saturday.
I have that COVID month thing. I have no idea what's going on anymore.
I just got back from the beach. It was 60.
Oh,
it was 60. So
okay.
Oh, that's Fahrenheit.
That's Fahrenheit. Yeah.
That's
so
it's about
12. Oh shit, I was
12.
close. We'll see.
It's close. I don't know. I'd have to get my calculator.
Google later. Okay, pull it up. So I was sitting out there, and it's funny. I have a neighbor. I said this actually last on the 12 Years podcast, where my neighbor works at the LCBO. Oh no, sorry, he doesn't work there. He sells to LCBO. So
which is our
our alcohol store. We don't have the
you can't just get alcohol wherever you want in Ontario. You've got to go to a separate store.
Sorry, I got to explain that. Yeah, we don't. We pay a lot for booze. And we can only get it in one location, which seems kind of bullshit.
It seems so stupid.
Yeah, right. So stupid to say out loud. So and he sells to these stores. He tries to get companies hire him to get their shit on the shelves, whatever. And he saw us out on the front, and he was like, "Hey, do you guys want iced tea or whatever?" I'm like, "No, fuck, no." He's like, "No, but it's alcohol." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So he opens his trunk, and he had like a case of like cider and iced tea and shit. So I take the whole thing. I'm like, "This is awesome." So it was sunny out. This gets to your music, I promise. Yeah. So we're staying on the deck, and we're probably like 4 ciders in each. And she goes, "Hey, when's your next podcast?" I said, "It's Monday." And then she goes, "Who's it with?" I said, "Oh, I'll show you right now." And I pulled up and I played that song, and it was probably the perfect time for that song. It was like to me, that song reminds me, it was a summer song. Out, drink, play. It was perfect, and she dug it, and it was awesome. So
cool.
Yeah, so I just want to let you know that song really was, I heard in the right moments, and fucking perfect. It's great.
I won't tell you what the song's about.
Oh, good. Don't tell me. No, don't ruin it. Oh, shit. Don't ruin it, man. Don't ruin it then, because I was like, it was a good buzz going. It was perfect. Like, don't ruin it. No. Or say
you got it. No, it's fine.
Okay. All right. Don't say it. I was saying it was a good for it made me feel good at the moment. So maybe, maybe it's for obvious. I was just drinking, like, yeah, that song's great. Can't wait to talk to you guys. But yeah. So
no, I got away from telling people what songs they're about. I do tell people, but I find that it ruins things for people. So
yeah.
Like if you found a meaning for it, that's what it's about. That's
what it means. Yeah. I like that. And what it's neat is what Andrew's saying is, I think that's one of the things that is missing. But I remember even my niece who would come over and she'd be like, "Oh, who are you listening to right now? Like, who is that?" Right? Because she would be always like top 40. And what's so cool is to be like, "Oh, that it's this band, right?" They've never heard of them. And like just thinking of like Andrew saying that, and a friend comes over and is like, "Oh, who's your next podcast?" "Oh, this is who it is," right? And then they hear your music. I think that organic, and then hopefully they go listen to it, and then it just starts to go, right? May not go for hundreds of thousands of people, but even if it reaches an extra 10, 20 listeners, to me that's success.
Honestly, for me, it's like I would love to play music for the rest of my life. But if my life keeps going the way it is, I have a good job. I make enough money for keep my family, keep my family healthy. I could do a little less stress at my job, but I get paid enough to take it. But and I mean, we make a little bit of money from our music, and if it never becomes more than that, really, honestly, I just want people to find it. I want people to, somebody who needs the music to find the music. That's why I write it. So.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's what Andrew and I've talked about. Like, I think one of the things that we're trying to, I guess, want to see more engagement, but at the end of the day, to me, that is a success. Is that anyone that wants to listen to it, like I've mentioned before, whoever it is in Cincinnati, Ohio, or Cincinnati, I don't know. Is it Cincinnati? I don't know where it is. Anyways, there's a.
Well, ask him. He'll know her.
Well, it's Cincinnati, isn't Ohio. Right?
Cincinnati isn't. Yeah, it's in Ohio. Yeah,
but I'm pretty sure it is. I'm pretty sure
I've never been to Cincinnati.
No,
There's no reason to go there.
I was supposed to go. I was supposed to go this year for a ball stadium tour, but clearly we can't cross the border, so I'm not going.
You could have met that one fan, man.
Yeah, well, that's it. But
you put on Instagram
every month in Spotify, it was like 50, 60 plays at least from. And I don't know who it is. I would love to know, but obviously our music means something to them. It's just so neat to see. It's kind of like, okay, just keep going, keep trucking. So
I hope so.
Yeah, we have the same thing in St. Petersburg. In Russia, and I don't know how we're ever going to pull that tour off.
I'm not sure either. I don't know. Oh, there was another one too. That was a really strange one. I wonder if it was in the Netherlands or whatnot too. And I was like,
it was Netherlands. Yeah, it was.
Was it Netherlands? That was a big one for a while too.
I would love to just talk to them. Just to be like, what do you like? Or like, what do you like about it? Like, what makes you come back to it? Like, just to know what they think about it. Like honest feedback from this person that has no idea anything about us. Just some guy or girl listening to it in the Netherlands or fucking, be like, hey, like what brought you to it? And like, what do you think? And
how'd you find it? Yeah.
Why do you keep coming back to it? Like, just like that would be, and you know what? Like you said, like, I'm not thinking it's gonna make $1 million off this. I just want people to hear it and be like, these guys sat down, wrote an album. This is it. If they like it, they don't like it. I would like to have a conversation with somebody, even someone who didn't like it, just to be like, why don't you like it? Just to have that,
that honest feedback.
Yeah, just have a conversation about the music, because I almost rather someone tell me why they didn't like it than hear nothing.
Not saying
I think the nothing is what's killing me, and Nate could attest to this. The no feedback is killing me more than someone saying you guys suck. Like, that's what, like, we dropped the EP and then really didn't hear anything, and as their second EP, and it's kind of like, is this a good thing? It's probably not a good thing. Is it a bad thing? Like, we're not really hearing feedback. I don't know how common it is to hear feedback, and maybe you could say
it is not at all common. I mean,
there
honestly,
you go.
Man,
so
I hate to say it, but this is the life you chose.
Yeah,
I know. That's exactly it.
Like, so here's the thing for, like, that's kind of cool, because I've been playing music since the 90s. So, and I've been like recording and releasing music since probably, I recorded stuff, but there was no releasing back then. But since like the mid 2000s, and we took a hiatus when my first son, or my second son was born, he's 7 now. We took like 5 years, and I was like, I'm done. I need to walk away. I need to make enough money. I need to concentrate on my career for now. And in that time, a deal that I had signed that I expected nothing from, it was basically they were like, yeah, this is a non-exclusive licensing deal for your entire album, for your entire everything. You can still sell it other places. And then they were like, yeah, we sold it to this company called Soundreef in Europe. They're going to play your song in the background of stores. I'm like, great, so cool. I made $100. Awesome. And then ever since, we get about a little over 1 million plays every year in the backgrounds of stores. And it grew out of nothing while we were doing nothing. And it came from building up a catalog, really. I mean, if we hadn't had a catalog at that time of, I guess at the time we probably had 30 or 40 songs. If we hadn't had a catalog of 40 recorded songs to give them, we probably wouldn't have gotten that licensing deal, and we wouldn't have gotten in the ground floor with this new company. And Sound Reef, I mean, yeah, we get a check every 6 months. It's not a lot, but it pays for releases, it pays for the website, and we take a little bit home.
Awesome.
That's that would be ideal. Really, at the end of the day, that's really neat, though. Yeah.
So sometimes, like, you don't know what deal you're going to sign that might make you money. I won't sign anything that's like exclusive unless I have a lawyer look at it. But most of the non-exclusive stuff I look at and I'm like, yes. So if you make money with it, great. If you don't, It doesn't matter.
It doesn't really matter. Yeah. That's a really good call.
But yeah, so you never know. Like, I mean, we quit. I mean, I quit. I was done. And then the checks started coming, or, they started going into our bank account. And I'm like, oh, whatever, it's going to dry up. And it's been years. And
that's crazy.
We're due for another one in July. We get our next payment.
Another payment and another payment in July. Yeah. And did that make you start, like, is that what made you go back into music then?
That and missing it. I mean,
yeah, you truly missed it.
Yeah. I've been writing music since I started writing music when I was 10. And I'm not like, I'm not like one of those people who's like, I started writing when I was 10 years old because I was classically trained. No, I was a poor, white trash kid who, decided that, somebody told me I couldn't write a song in 5th grade, and told my friend he couldn't write a song, actually, because I wasn't interested. And I was like, well, I could write a song. She's like, you couldn't. And so I went home and I tried. And it took me a while, and I sucked for a long time. And then probably around 16, I was like, oh, wait, I think I kind of get it. And then probably around 30, I was like, I'm pretty good at this now. I know how to write a song.
Kind of figure this out.
Yeah.
That's a really interesting story. Yeah, I'm definitely not classically trained at all.
No, me neither. Nope. I'm so lazy.
I played piano as a little kid because my parents were like, we need you to do something in the winter because you've got a sport in the summer. And my dad, being older, was like, I'm not in an arena with you in the wintertime because I don't want to be in the cold. So piano it was. And then I didn't really, I actually did as much as I could until they were like, you need to go with a bigger than a keyboard. And I was like, I'm done. So, and then it was like, well, what's your next instrument? I guess guitar. It's small-ish. Did that for a few years, and then I walked away. I walked away from guitar for a few years, quite a few years. And then for whatever reason, I was like, oh, I want to go back to it. I wish I'd stayed with it, when I was in my teens and that. But
well, I mean, I think that's what happens. Like, the older I get, the more I regret what I didn't do, and the more I realize that I need to make sure that I don't regret anything else. Like, I can't, it's the whole thing where I can't undo what I did. But I realize now that I'm never going to get to the end of my life and say, I wish I didn't spend so much time writing music. I might, if I was away from my family or, for touring, sure. I might say, oh, I wish I didn't spend so much time on the road, but writing music, no.
Totally
no.
Yeah, you just opened my eyes, but though, like, everything I do with music is I just like, I feel like it's so half-assed. Like, I never was like, I'm not trained on anything. I'm just not even mixing or mastering. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just doing it on like just the whim. Everything is like, and YouTube. I'm just like, oh my god, how do you do this? I'm like, okay, I can think
YouTube University.
Yeah, for real. Like, it's just everything I learned the last year has been pretty much from Google.
Yeah,
and figuring out, as far as mixing the fucking album, it's just been like, okay, this I gotta do this by how it feels and how you do this. And so my regret is to not do anything enough that I went as far as to get some sort of training doing it. It's like, you know what I mean? But
honestly, I mean, but at the same time, I mean, you're doing it, so the best way to learn anything is to do it.
True. It's just doing it. Yeah,
and you're gonna mix things that are gonna sound like crap, but I mean, then the next one might not.
I hope not, man. I hope not.
It's gonna happen. There's so many times. Like, right now, we have 2 masters that I was listening back to. That we were like, okay, we'll release these next, and I'm listening to the masters. I'm like, oh wow. So the violins are way too loud in the one. They're like, they hurt. I was like, and we mixed this, and then we went to a mastering studio and paid them to master it, and it's still too loud.
And that's why I wouldn't. That's why I feel I would never want to do that, because you pay someone to do it, and they're just going to do it not with what you had in mind, right? Like to them, that made sense, maybe, right? The violins be out loud, you know?
Oh no, we mixed it. It was our fault.
Oh, so
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You're gonna mix stuff. It's gonna sound like crap.
Yeah, and then you're gonna go get it mastered, and then
it's gonna be
"Wait
too
a
late.
minute."
Yeah, okay, never mind. Yeah.
Yeah.
So dude, what the fuck? Violin.
Yeah, so we just had the conversation of these two songs, and I'm like, I was like, I'm not releasing them. I was like, because I'm like, I won't release it when it sounds like this. And then we were like, it's like, okay, so we eat I think we spent like $60 to master it, and we eat all the time that we put into everything else.
Right.
And then we're gonna have to eat another $60 to get it mastered again.
Right.
Once we're done. But
well, you got check in July coming in, so
yeah. That's right, man.
There it is. All right. Well, we are pretty much out of time, but where can everyone find you, Jay?
You can find us at boscoandpeck.com. That's not the ampersand, that's the AND. So boscoandpeck.com. And then we're on Twitter at Bosco and Peck. We're on Instagram, but I rarely go on there. And we're on Facebook, I think.
No,
if you want to talk to me, I'm on Twitter all the time. I don't do anything.
Yeah, you are on Twitter all the time, which is great. Yeah. And just a big shout out and thanks for your comments and watching our podcast too. Really appreciate it.
Oh man,
really appreciate for you being on too. This is great conversation and great insight to not only what you've done but just music in general. So
yeah, man, I had fun.
It was a lot of fun. Glad. All right,
buddy.
We will chat soon.
Thanks for coming on.
Have a good night, guys.
You too.